so safe and so secure. Every day.
Where and when were you born?
I was born in Germany. The name of the town is Memmingen, and it was 1938, December 31st.
How old were you when the war started and ended?
I was born when the war started, and I was about 6 years old when the war ended.
Were you forced to move at all, and why?
We were forced to move. We lived in a 6-apartment building. We had to move out and move into another house where we got 2 rooms. The reason why we had to move was the American soldiers wanted the whole apartment building. Let's see.
I want it all. I want it all. I want it all. And I want it now.
What challenges did you have to face as the war was raging on throughout Europe?
What I remember was we had to leave our apartment and go into the basement, into a special room with double doors whenever we heard the planes fly and the sirens came.
Did anybody you knew have to fight in the war? If so, who did, and which side did they fight for?
My father was older and he was called upon to fight just before the war ended. So he never went, but he got the uniform and everything. And after the war ended, some German guy came with an American and said, him and my father, they took my father away and we didn't know where he was for about 2 years. And my cousin's husband was a pilot. And right after he got married, he was called to go fight, and he lost his life in the war.
Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Caught in a landslide, no escape from reality. Open your eyes, look up to the skies and see.
How do you think Adolf Hitler was able to brainwash all of Germany?
Well, the only thing I remember from hearsay was Germany was very poor. A lot of people were out of work. He promised work, and people did have work. And that's why they trusted him.
I've paid my dues, time after time. I've done my sentence.
Did you know about the concentration camps and what was happening to the Jewish population?
Now, first of all, I was too small. And all I can say from hearsay is a lot of ordinary Germans didn't know about that.
You said your father was a prisoner of war. Do you know where the Americans took him?
No, I do not know where the Americans took him, but I was told later on he went from one place to another place to another place. And the last place he was at, he was told he was going to a place which was not very nice, or he was afraid. So he said he had appendicitis attack, and they kept him in the hospital and took his appendix out, and he never went where he was supposed to go.
So he never had appendicitis.
He never had appendicitis, he pretended.
How did you and your family receive information about what was going on in Europe?
We received information through the radio, but then I remember after a while we were not allowed to have a radio. A newspaper, I don't remember.
What effect was World War II having on the German people?
Well, when he first started out, before the war started, he worked and all the people had jobs. But then he started working the military, and all the money he had went to the military. And the people started to be poor again. They were bombed. They lost family. Like with any war, it's awful.
What specific memories do you still have from the war?
I remember the town being bombed, but it seemed normal to me because I didn't know any different. And I remember we were standing in a doorway and there were leaflets falling from airplanes. What the leaflets said, I don't know, but I believe they came from the Americans.
What were some of his experiences living in Germany at this time?
All I remember him saying, he went, they had a huge tent, the American, when they occupied Germany. In his area there was a huge tent, and him and his friends went under the tent and they stole food and took it back and buried it at home and shared it with a couple other families. And one time they were almost caught because shots were fired, and then they were too scared, they wouldn't go back.
After the war had ended, what state was Germany in and what was it like?
Germany was very poor because everything was bombed. Train stations were bombed, houses were bombed, people had to move in with each other, so you had to share your apartment with another family. And there was really no food, so sometimes you would go and you barter. You had something what somebody else wanted, and that person had something what you wanted, so you bartered.